Evening or welcome to day 12. Right, today we have a bit of indulgence for myself. This is a game I do dip back into relatively often, and because it's just simply awesome, it is Left 4 Dead 2. Now, this is, if you've never played Left 4 Dead, you're missing probably one of the best shooters out there. And I guess it's continuing yesterday's zombie theme. From Plants vs Zombies, that I thought it'd be worth showing you some of the, I guess, the classic, if you like, zombie games out there. And I think Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, and I only really play Left 4 Dead 2 now, we'll discuss why in a moment, is something that if you ever get really frustrated and IRL gets you down, you know, then this is the game to come play, because it is just unadulterated, shooty fun, and I think honestly you'll love playing this game if you haven't before. Let's explain what it is. It's another one of these kind of wonderful games from Valve that has a lovely kind of absence of story as to what's going on, why you're here, why you're survivors. It doesn't really tell you what happened to the world, other than zombies have gone bad, and these are 28 days later zombies that are pretty evil. Now, you can't be infected. That's the one thing that they did include, is that you can be beaten hell out of, but you can't be infected. So it's not even necessarily zombies. These are just some sort of rage-induced human beings that have lost their all sanity or something. So, you know, I like that. They haven't actually said, these are zombies. They've said, you know, there's something terrible happened in the world. What's going on? So it's very akin to Walking Dead. I don't know if you watch Walking Dead. Massive fan of that franchise. Just love it. I actually was aware of the comic books after I watched the pilot of Walking Dead Series 1, and I thought, this is so amazing, I have to go and read the comic books now, because I knew it came from the comic books. And I read the comic books, and I watched the thing, and I'm overwhelmed by how awesome it is. I love it. And I think this is certainly something that if you're into that kind of scene, then I think this game is definitely for you, and I'm sure many of you play it already. Now, what they did really well with this game is what you see here. It's this feeling of literally, again, a society that has just gone and broken down. So people scrawling stuff on the wall, you know, Leonard, please come and find us, we will survive, I'm going to be at the mountain, I'll be here, blah blah. And you just think to yourself, oh my god, did I just shoot the woman that wrote that? And it's lovely. I love that. Oh yeah, sword, nice. And I think there's definitely this kind of real feeling of apocalypse, you know, apocalypse literally going on in this world, and I really like that. It's rare to find a game that I think does it as well, I think, as Left 4 Dead. And I think this again really does sum up why Valve games are so good, because they really do put that kind of that little bit extra in them to do with the world, the environment, the story, etc. So, you know, heartily sort of love this game. It's also one of the games that I think you can keep coming back to, because people are still doing maps for them. So, you know, or campaigns rather. So what we're playing here is actually a DLC campaign, believe it or not. So this is why it's quite cool, because a lot of the time, you know, you can just end up playing the same maps and it gets very boring. They've enabled this game to have real longevity, because it does entirely enable fan-made map support. So you can just download entire campaigns, and I have actually done this. I probably thought to myself, well, do you know what, I need to shoot something. So I downloaded Left 4 Dead 2, went to the Steam Workshop, which is excellent, by the way, if you haven't checked it out, and probably downloaded like a dozen campaigns, and that was my weekend set. I literally played through the whole thing and loved every minute of it, because it, you know, the game isn't formulaic. Actually, there are some quite clever, you know, deviations from the standard formula that I quite like, and I think certainly what a lot of fans have done is they've understood what people quite like about the genre. So I think definitely worth a look. I think, you know, particularly as well when we did our top 25, you know, we did literally sit down and brainstorm whatever game we could think, and we just thought to ourselves, well, there has to be some zombie games somewhere. And we could have done quite a few things. Like, I've played previous zombie games, like Project Zomboid is quite good. It's a totally different game. It's an isometric survival game, but it's very good. If you're into this whole genre of survival and you love your realism, then Project Zomboid is well worth a look. We're not going to do that this time round, though, because I've already done a series on that. So check it out if you're interested in kind of, you know, really hardcore survival zombie games. Then Project Zomboid could be for you. Check out my video series in the playlist a bit. But I thought, you know, it needed something that just said, look, you know, there needs to be a There needs to be a game in here that is primarily a shooty zombie kind of game, and I think, to be honest, there's a lot out there. I mean, you know, all of the kind of gimmicks have been done, but I think none have done them with the love and, I guess, the care that I think Left 4 Dead has, because at no point is it cliche, but it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, so that's always good. I think generally these kind of games, they can be very hit and miss as well. I think a lot of, ever since the Call of Duty zombie stuff, I think, you know what I mean, I think people have always tried to kind of cash in on that PvE element of PvP shooters, and they usually do that with zombies, Nazi zombies. For some reason, Nazi zombies. And I think certainly a lot of what you see nowadays is very few people getting zombies right as well. So, you know, I think the problem is there's so many different kind of genres of zombiehood, if that's even a word, that, you know, people do think to themselves, well, are they shamblers, fast shamblers? Are they 28 days later ones? Are they, you know, are they War Z ones? You know, it's that kind of irony almost that the whole zombie subculture has been completely perverted from what was originally intended by George R. Romero, which was, you know, pretty much zombies were reanimated corpses. And if you've ever seen Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, sorry, well, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, I don't know, there's like 100 different movies, but if you saw the original black and white one, it was literally corpses are reanimating, and it was something quite terrible, and that was the subtext, that was it. And look at what we have now. We've got, you know, whole, you know, prime time TV shows dedicated to the zombie apocalypse. So it's definitely something that people love. People love zombies, and I could not tell you why. You know, I think it's just because there is something quite compelling. It's like the Dracula stories, that kind of thing. It's just something subnormal, I guess. So we fought our way all the way through to this bunker. If I'd have taken a bit more time, the whole bunker is scrawled with writing, and it's lovely. It really advances the story lovely. So definitely worth a look. But I think certainly what you'll find is that, you know, what Valve and what Valve do really well is that they put a huge amount of love into the environment that they're playing the game within. So as you can see, this thing is literally a storm drain. You know, in essence, there's all of survival messages around it, and, you know, you fight from safe house to safe house, which is, again, you know, a way to load and start the level. I guess it is formulaic to a degree, but you have no idea what you're going to encounter when you walk out the door. If you play a map that you've never played before, it is actually really exciting fighting through, well, God knows what, because, you know, in one map you go from a church is the safe house, and all of a sudden you're in like a production line, a factory that's covered with zombies, all the way through to, you know, I don't know, you know, literally a plane crashed in the middle of the field, and you're then having to fight your way through the zombie fest there. It really is a kind of game of experience and exploration as well, and it's a rail shooter. Let's not forget that it's not an open world thing, but that's probably what makes it so good, because I think when you look at some of the open world, you know, sandbox attempts to do zombie games, in my mind, and in my opinion only, the only one that's managed to do it properly is DayZ. And even then, DayZ was such a great idea, but it's taking a bit too long to come. So I think already, a lot of people are a bit kind of like, you know, they're not too bothered with DayZ now, I think. We'll see, but I think, you know, when you look at some of the other stuff, like, was it War Z? World War Z? Remember War Z, that game that came out that was basically it appeared, allegedly, to be cashing in on DayZ. That was just not good in my mind, because I don't think the open world piece was done very well. Anyway, I think there's a lot of challenge doing good zombie games when the bar is set so high by games like Left 4 Dead 2. I think certainly a lot of people that have followed after Left 4 Dead have had their kind of hands tied, because you know, Valve have done such a good job creating a multiplayer or even a single player game that that actually has merit when it comes to the zombie horde. I think a lot of the time you don't really get, I think, games that have the weight and the story as well. A lot of the time, story's very half-assed, and oh my god, that just hit Coach. You see that? It landed on him. That's brilliant. How is he still alive under that? I don't know. Anyways, that's quite funny. And this is it. Each game, you know, I've played this map probably a few times now, and that's never happened, and that's funny. So this is a tank, if you don't know what that is. There are special infected. I should talk about the game a bit more, I guess. There's not just hordes of zombies that you get to shoot and kill. There are what they call special infected, and probably the worst of them all is this one. This is the tank. This is a phenomenally tough, well, I guess NPC really, that you know, pretty much will kick your ass. You just got to mass gunfire at it, and look at that. Coach is down. The coach is down. Oh well, never mind. Death doesn't mean a great deal in this game because he actually will spawn further ahead of us now. So we will actually be able to like rescue him in the near future. So you know, it's not a, you know, it's not as serious as it sounds. This is quite a gory game, as you can see with my katana. I'm basically, you know, slicing noggins off, and as you can see, it's probably not for kids. So I probably should put a warning in the front of this video. But it's, yeah, it's a bit gory, a bit bloody. But then again, aren't all zombie things? Isn't everything to do with zombie very visceral? Very kind of graphically visceral. Anyway, we'll see. I think as, you know, the game develops, you do come across, that's another special infected. That's the charger. You get the boomer, which is kind of this fat dude. You also get the hunter like that you can basically, you know, kind of floor you, and it hunts and looks for you, etc., etc. And many more. And to be honest, yeah, I think they've really done that with love, because, oh look, see, told you, coach is back. I think it's really been done with love, because you don't really get the impression that you know, the game's imbalanced in any way. And there's a very clever module in it called the game's director, which means that every experience will be different. So, for example, at any point we can be rushed by a zombie horde. Ooh, chainsaw, nice. And at any point that director will decide what happens in the map, where the zombies will spawn, and when we get rushed, where the special infected come, etc. So it is a unique experience pretty much every time as well. Obviously the maps stay the same, but again, with so many maps, you know, it really is a game that you could just keep playing forever now. It's a wonderful game to play with friends. I don't have any friends, so I'm playing on my own. And I'm basically having to rely on the AI. The AI isn't bad, but it's not great. But if you do, you know, just, you can get this game really, you know, really cheap on Steam now. It's like, you know, ridiculously cheap because it is so old, but it is so much fun. I guarantee you'll have a laugh playing this game, because again, what other game could allow you to pick up a chainsaw and start hacking limbs off, you know, people? I think it's it's pretty funny. I'm pretty terrible at the game as well. I mean, that's probably always been my problem, is that when I play it, I'm not the best. Only because I think my aim is really getting crap. I think I need glasses. That's bad, isn't it? But definitely my aim, it's like in Dust lately, I've been absolutely shocking in Dust just because my aim is completely off. I'm actually relying on aim assist to make me appear credible in Dust. But this is a PC game. You can get it on all consoles. I think I even have this on my Xbox, and it played pretty well. So I think, you know, it's definitely worth a look. You should be able to get it pretty cheap. In terms of fun, I think you'll have probably, you know, 3 or 4 days of playing this, unless you manically play it, in which case you'll probably complete it in 2. But I don't think you would be able to manically play it, because it is quite tiring. When what you're about to see here is our final fight to the safe room, and as you can see, it's going really well to begin with. In fact, it's going terribly. But this is where the director kicks in, and it just says, right, I'm going to throw hordes and waves of zombies at you. Some of them are going to be just literally all in one go. Some will trickle, and, you know, enjoy it, fight them off. And that is where the game, I think, the AI and the I guess the crafting behind the game is very clever, because they have made it so that, you know, this is now quite a challenge. We are being overwhelmed, and that is the point. That is really the subtext of why all zombie games were good. You know, because individually we're armed to the teeth, but what they, you know, what I think most games never do is they never overwhelm you with it. So you can be armed to the teeth, but there's just so many of them. So I think World War Z, when literally, you know, the zombies attack, it was a tidal wave of zombies, almost literally. And I think that's what I think Left 4 Dead has always done better than any other game out there. As you can see, literally just, you know, tidal wave of them. They do die, it's realistic, so, you know, one shot will kill them, rip arms off, rip heads off, rip legs off, you know. And I think they have done this with real understanding that it should be based as much as possible in real world, in real world scenario-esque stuff. So here we go. I've been knocked down. You've got to be revived. So if all of the party get knocked down, then that's game over, because no one can then revive you. So it is a true team game as well. And as you can see, we're having to fight through a flood, down the stairs into the bridge, or wherever this is. I don't know where this is going, but it's terrifying as hell. I've now run out of ammo, and I'm back to my pistol, and I've just been knocked down again. This is not good. So that was a spitter. Spitters fire green goo that basically sticks to you, the floor, and if you're on it, it kills you really badly. And Ellis has now been taken off. That's not good. This is looking dire. And the irony is we're literally 20 foot away from the end of the game. But the game is ramping up continually, and then all of a sudden, look, there's nothing. And that is the director at work. Sometimes it will give you an eerie silence where you actually have time to recover. That's rare, trust me, because I've played this game many times and died at this point. And you know, I'm just gobsmacked that actually this happened. So quickly heal myself. I also have a Molotov cocktail which I'm going to use, and pretty much that is kind of, you know, there's lots of collectibles. There's like pipe bombs, things like that. So here we go. I just set fire to our own dudes. I feel bad about that a little bit. But the safe room is right there, so I'm just literally clearing the safe room as I'm being hit. Oh my god. And there we go. So, you know, pretty much this was as tense as it gets as we get into the safe room. I then pick up a very nice combat shotgun, and I'm just going to take some revenge on these, you know, pissing zombies. And this is, again, you can just sit here. You can literally sit. In fact, if you play this game, why don't you have a go of that? Just sit with the door open and see how long you can last. Because I think I've lasted like 2 hours before. And it is just the director will send waves and waves of zombies at you. And yeah, you'll think to yourself, well, this is easy. You're just killing them. But the reality is that at one point, something's going to hit you, and a jockey will jump on your head, and it will then steer you out the room, blah, blah, blah. You know, and it's it really is quite a challenge to do this. But there we go. Slam the door on that, because I don't really want to fight that thing. That's for damn sure. So there we go. That was Left 4 Dead 2. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Check out the website. We'll have an article supporting this, and hope you enjoyed that. I think certainly as we now start to get towards Christmas, we're going to start to show, I think, a few more kind of more popular games. But keep the suggestions coming. If you have a particular suggestion, then please post in the comments. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.